bias, exposing the propaganda, and challenging you to use your brain. It's time to tap into the truth.
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed time to tap into the truth. With you as always, I am your host, Tim Tapp, coming to you live from historic Roane County, Tennessee. Today, we're going to talk about who's using chemical weapons. That's today's title, and that's because as the 2-year conflict that's been going on for control of Syria has been going on, for the first time, there has been chemical weapons used, or at least that's the reports that have been coming out. This news broke yesterday, of course. Initially, it was the Assad government that claimed that the rebels had used it. And, of course, later on, the rebels then turned around and said, oh, no, it's not us, it's them. And it's an interesting question, and one we'll take a much bigger look at as we get to the main part of the show. But first, we're going to start out. Let's start with the Conspiracy Corner. Look out, the gun grabbers are coming, and there is no doubt about it. Today, Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper signed what's being called landmark gun control bills. The governor of Colorado signed bills today that put sweeping new restrictions on sales of firearms and ammunition in the state. That, what's surprising, this is one of those pioneer states. They are part of that western expanse for gun ownership, and just the spirit of the Wild West has been a dominant prevailing attitude. It's almost asinine, the fact that a state filled with rugged individuals like you would expect to find throughout Colorado would sit back and let their legislature and let their governor do this to them. Now, Colorado has, over the last few decades, swung more blue than red, and the Democrats do tend to lean on the side of gun control. Regardless of their reasoning and rationale for doing so, they do seem to continue to miss the point that criminals don't obey laws. I understand the shock and awe of things like the Aurora Theater shooting and the Columbine shooting, but there does come a point where common sense still has to take precedent over a reason, as they like to put it, because all of these laws are reasonable. I mean, today is the day after the executive director of the state corrections department was shot and killed in his home when he answered the door for the very state of Colorado. Coincidence? Timing? I don't know. But at any rate, the bills that they have passed, just so you know, require background checks for private and online gun sales, and they ban ammunition magazines that hold more than 15 rounds. How much is that really going to affect gun ownership in the state? It's certainly going to make it more difficult for private sales to take place. Is that the point? I tend to think it is. It's more of a backhanded effort, a more de facto form of gun control. And meanwhile, in certain other states, there are new moves to require a new type of insurance for gun owners. Also, I firmly believe an attempt at backhanded de facto gun control. Why do I say that? Well, because, answer this question, if the state passes a law saying you have to have a special insurance as a gun owner, how long will it be until suddenly the rates on these policies go so freaking sky high that most people simply can't afford to buy it? Oh, can't afford to buy it? You have to give up your guns. You can't keep the guns in the house without the insurance policy. And we will make every effort to enforce this law. Good luck, because something like that, going door to door, would require the sheriffs, and most sheriffs in most of the states now have come out and said they will not be enforcing these kind of laws, which is a good thing. It's good to see that there are people who understand the role in the government, and that is to protect the citizens and to defend the Constitution. Now, while we're looking at this, am I wrong? Are these really just well-intentioned people? Well, it doesn't matter if they've got good intentions or not. We all know what road is paved with good intentions, and that's the road we're headed on if we allow this current course of action to continue. This was set up in Colorado with lots of fanfare and lots of folks visiting the lawmakers who had written the bill and proposed the bill and sponsored the bill and co-sponsored the bill, and they had their guests there, which included folks from Sandy Hook and from the Aurora shooting and of course from Columbine. And of course today just happens to be the 8th-month anniversary of the Aurora Theater rampage. A lot of fanfare, a lot of playing to the crowd, and again, they're just trying to make it look like we're doing the right thing, we're doing the smart thing, and we're protecting you. If you want to protect people, arm them. The best social program is a job. The best form of defense is self-defense. The state is not capable of protecting you from threats like criminal activity. If they were, there would be no crime. When you consider that a lot of what we think of as crime going on probably has more to do with government action in the first place, it's almost as if they encourage crime. I don't want to be unarmed when we're facing government-encouraged crime. But at any rate, it is tragic that this has happened in Colorado. And look for these other states to find this under-the-radar movement, because a lot of people haven't even heard about these new laws being put on the books or being pushed in states to require a new type of insurance. And I guarantee you, what happens to the folks who get this insurance, if they don't raise the gun ownership insurance rates to the roof, watch out for the homeowner's insurance to go through the roof if they find out that your name's on the list of gun owner insurance. There will certainly be no bundling package to save you money there. I'll almost guarantee it. Last Sunday, a verdict was reached for 2 defendants in the Steubenville rape trial, and almost immediately the media started turning on each other. This is other news of the day section, in case you missed the segue. The media started turning on each other almost immediately. The Huffington Post went after CNN for apparently sympathizing with the accused rapers, as opposed to any type of sympathy directed towards the victim. Now, from what I saw the coverage, it really seemed more of an attempt to protect the identity of the victim and to kind of reverse, stylize, and sensationalize the choices that these kids had made. It was a slap in the face, wake up kids, see what you're doing when you make bad decisions kind of thing. Now, if I'm the only one in America who got that, then okay, fine, let's just crucify CNN. But, and you're not going to hear me take up for CNN very often. They are a propaganda machine that is second only to MSNBC. But now, as it turns out, what a lot of people missed is that CNN, MSNBC, even Fox News whether it was accidentally or intentional, they aired the name of the victim. She was 16 years old, and there's every attempt to protect victims in a case like this, especially when they're minors. 16-year-old girl who was the victim of this heinous act. And I have yet to understand what it says about America when an action like this divides a community as badly as this has. But they aired raw footage of the apology in court that Trent Mays made. And Trent Mays, of course just one of the two defendants, directly addressed the victim by name. And while it was being aired live, it wasn't censored. And then for the first couple of days, it also wasn't censored. So now there's a backlash against CNN and MSNBC, which broadcasted that Sunday. And then Fox News even broadcasted the same footage again on Monday. So the name was put out there over the course of the weekend. Now, you can almost forgive MSNBC and CNN on that first day not having much time to edit, not realizing what's coming on. But by Monday, Fox News should have known better. And quite honestly, the others should have too. I mean, there's no question. It was wrong for them to air the name. So the media is still all over each other on this. And it looks like they'd rather fight with each other than actually talk about the case. Meanwhile, 2 teenage girls were arrested in the Steubenville, Ohio area Monday and accused of using social media to threaten the victim in this particular rape case. The case itself was concluded on Sunday with the verdict, but Monday, the state attorney general, that's Mike DeWine, in case any of you are wondering, decided to go ahead and charge 2 more kids in the case. A 16-year-old girl who's been officially charged with aggravated menacing after using Twitter to threaten the life of the victim, and a 15-year-old girl who's charged with 1 count of menacing after making a threat on Facebook. Isn't social media grand? I tend to think that this makes a really strong argument. This whole case from start to finish makes a strong argument for keeping people under the age of 18 away from social media altogether, because they don't seem to understand how to use it. Now, on the one hand, the 2 teens that were charged and convicted this Sunday would have probably never been convicted without their misuse of social media. Now that they've got the first conviction, the DA is going after more people, and I have a strong feeling that there's going to still be a lot more coming down the pike in this case. Normally, when you get a verdict, the healing can start at that point. You're pretty well done. Something tells me for Steubenville, things have really now just started. It's not going to be pleasant there for some time to come. In the offbeat, here's a big surprising story. As most of you know, the Pew Research Center does an annual State of the Media study. They released this year's study just this past Monday. And in one section of the report, which when is taken in its totality, makes for very gloomy reading, details with changes in the television news landscape over the past 5 years. The study's authors found that since 2007, CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC have all cut back sharply on the amount of actual reporting found on their airwaves. Cheaper, more provocative debate or interview segments have largely filled the void.